A few episodes back, we bought a Triban RC120 from Decathlon, and it turned out to be one of the best value bikes we've ever seen. We wanted to see what else Decathlon had on offer. Currently, you can get the same bike, but disc brake for only £50 extra. Is it worth it? In today's episode, we're going to find out. Let's go to Decathlon. It's this way! Jimmy, I'm really excited.
Oh, are you? Why?
Well, this is the first time we are ever going to have a Decathlon bike that actually fits us, the £340 one. They only had a medium, but the guy in the shop was like, that's not going to fit you.
Couldn't we try buying an extra small then? And he also said that wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't get that at Evans, would you?
They'd sell you an extra large. Do you think our guy's going to be there, the top knot guy?
Hope so.
There's the whole range, you know, with the batteries outside.
First impressions, it does look nicer. Now we're going to weigh the bikes. This is exactly how the bike came from the Decathlon shop, so we're going to take a few things off to make it match the other bike that we have here, the RC120 rim brake version, to make sure it's a fair comparison. As we've discovered, when you buy a bike from Decathlon, you get a full setup from the mechanic, you get lights, you get reflectors, and you get pedals. As we pointed out in the last video, the lights that come on the bikes are okay. You will be seen, but you won't be able to see. But they're free. Kind of. Bell.
My bets are that the 120 disc is going to be heavier than the 120 rim brake because disc brakes weigh more. There's more metal and therefore it's typically heavier. In the grand scheme of things of actually riding it day to day, you're probably not going to notice the extra weight, but you are going to stop better, perhaps. R20 disc weighs 11.1 kilos. 120 rim brake version is 10.72 kilos. So the difference is 400 grams.
Ish.
Now, for complete transparency, Decathlon have agreed to loan us this bike on this occasion, which means we didn't have to pay for it. Viewers of this channel will know that they are not a sponsor of ours.
They are not paying us. We don't have to say anything nice, and we don't even have to make this video.
So our opinions are going to be ours and not theirs.
Stay tuned to the end of this video because we're not going to be keeping these bikes either. We're taking them somewhere good. So to run down through the spec, we have an aluminium frame, carbon fork. Practically unheard of at bikes at this price. Remember, it's £400. The frame has mounts for racks and mud guards. The geometry of the frame is quite relaxed, which is fantastic for people who are new to cycling. You can make some adjustments at the front end here and remove spaces if you want a more aggressive position, which might be faster. But directly from the shop, they've set it up with a few spaces underneath the stem, so you have that adjustability, which is nice. The frame we have here is a size small, which fits us perfectly. I'm 5'10", Jimmy's 5'8". Oh, we measure me on the wall with 5'10". If you're any taller than that, you might want to go for a medium, which unfortunately was the only bike they had in stock last time, so that's the one we ended up testing. With the size small, Decathlon have paid attention to the sizes of parts that go on the bike. So the handlebars are 40 centimeters wide, which is narrower than what you'd get on a medium to large. Bear in mind, the correct bar width on a road bike like this with drop bars is about the same width as your shoulders. Saddle looks fairly comfortable. It's a B-twin one, which is Decathlon's own brand. Same with the bars, same with the stem. So they're branding all of these parts and stocking them on their own bikes. I would prefer if this saddle had a pressure relief channel in the middle, like a hole in the middle, because most people get on with those better. £400. Can't really complain. Saddles are specific to the person. It's just that ones with a pressure relief channel in the middle tend to fit people better.
Is that not classed as a pressure relief channel?
I mean, it's very shallow. It's not going to do anything. I prefer a legit hole. That's fitted to a 27.2mm seat post, which is standard size for most bikes. If you want to replace this for a lighter one, you're going to easily find other options. Group set is micro shift. We know this works really well from testing this bike before. It's exactly the same. 8-speed group set, 2 gears on the front. The gear ratios are very friendly, 11/34 cassette on the back and a 50/34 chain set on the front. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. You're going to be able to climb up most steep hills with this.
The ratios are just perfect. Having that 1-to-1, like, why wouldn't you want that on any bike, let alone a bike that's generally aimed at new cyclists? It just makes roads much more accessible, you know?
Wheels are, again, made by Triban. They say on the side, tubeless ready. which is fantastic. They're not set up tubeless, which is common in shops because the sealant expires after a while. But if you wanted to set these up tubeless, so there's sealant inside, which attempts to seal your punches if you do get one, you can, which is a feature the rim brake bike did not have. In fact, it's a feature that most bikes in this price point won't have. They've then fitted 28mm Triban tyres to this, different to the ones from the other bike. They look as if they're coming out a little bit wider. It might be down to the wheel.
I thought the tyres were going to be rubbish, but we even climbed on like a wet, slippery road and it was grippy.
This frame, being disc, allows for a much bigger tyre clearance than that frame too. So, well, I think we should test how big tyres we can fit in. So we're going to put some tyres on the back wheel because the clearance in the rear of the bike is always going to be the limiting factor. So you've got the front mech to deal with. When I say front mech, I mean this, front derailleur. So it derails your chain onto the chain rings. It obviously is a bit bulky and sticks out, and often your tyre, if you go too wide, can start rubbing here or on the inside of your chain stays. It all depends on how the frame has been designed. This frame is This frame is officially rated on the Decathlon website to take 36mm tyres. We reckon you can go wider, so let's test it. We have a Hutchinson Override 38mm and a Hutchinson Touareg 40mm. These are both gravel tyres as well, so there's a little bit of tread. If these can squeeze in, I'll be very impressed. Here's a good little test. I've managed to get the tyres that come on this bike off with no tyre levers, just my hands, which is a good thing for people. Sometimes you get tyres which are just really difficult to get off, and it depends on the wheel-tyre combination. So if you get a flat tyre on the side of the road, you know you're going to be able to take these off without too much trouble. I would recommend always riding with a set of tyre levers to make things even easier. Loads and loads of space. So that's the 38. Try the 40. Loads of space. You could go even bigger. We're not going to. But you could go even bigger.
The significance of being able to put big tyres on your bike is it just makes it more versatile. You can run bigger tyres for commuting to make it more comfortable. You can put gravel tyres on it so that you can do some more off-road riding. Arguably, you could put cyclocross tyres on it and race it. For reference, this is a Hutchinson Touareg 40mm with a bit of grip on it, and it fits in fine.
So shifting is perfect. Granted, they did know we were coming, so they might have made an extra special effort, but it's firing perfect.
All the gears shift great. The ergonomics on the shifters is very good. You know, it's not as good as a Dura-Race or even a 105 shifter, but it's very comfortable, it's very good. Even the saddle's quite good. It feels light, it feels fast, it's got loads of gears, so climbing is a breeze. It's a phenomenal starter bike, or proper road bike. It's phenomenal. For a £400 bike, it's like the value in this bike is just astronomical.
Disc brakes are not rubbing, set up perfectly. They feel great in the stand, but need to be tested outside and bedded in before we can make a decision on them.
You said the brakes are rubbing, but you don't notice it when you're riding. They don't seem to be holding me back at all.
You know what I can hear coming from your bike, Jimmy?
What?
Bit of disc brake rub.
Oh, can you?
Which I assume the wheel wasn't quite in straight from the shop. All we've done is had the wheel out, changed the tyres, put the wheel back in again, no other changes, and now it's rubbing. So I assume the wheel was put in a little bit wonky at the shop. I would like to think if you went back with this problem, they would fix it free of charge. One minus point, I suppose.
One thing to note is, as always with disc brakes, you have to bed them in. So when you first start using them, if you did get this bike or any bike with disc brakes, when you first start using them, they won't be as good as they will be after, 15, 20 minutes of riding and using them. Once they're bedded in, they're great.
One thing worth noting, which is kind of a negative, but it's not that bad. Where this brake cable goes, which apparently is Jaguar compressionless, even though it doesn't say it on it, but it does say it on the website, there's a little clip here where it clips onto the fork. And the problem with this is that as soon as you go like that, it's going to fly off and go missing. I would recommend replacing this with a cable tie. Another big downside to this frame, the non-replaceable mech hanger. So this piece where the derailleur attaches to the frame at the rear is built into the frame. So if you crash on this side and hit the derailleur, it might bend the frame, and that's a write-off. Because it can't be bent back, it's aluminium, so it's very few times you can bend this back and it'll be okay. The solution from lots of frame manufacturers and the upper level frames from Triban as well is a removable hanger. A very expensive frame. This is an example of a removable hanger, which is attached to the rear chainstay. This piece is replaceable and will bend if you have an accident on this side. And then you just replace the hanger instead of replacing the whole frame. I wish this Triban came with a replaceable hanger, but it doesn't. Big downside.
The bike is harsher than the really, really expensive other bikes that I ride, but I would expect it to be. It's not so harsh though that it's like uncomfortable or horrible. It's just I'm used to a level of bike that just means it's more comfortable. But it's not uncomfortable to the extent that like it's horrible or unpleasant. You just notice it more. I think it's brilliant. Good bike. Well done, Triban. I've literally been trying to find any excuse to mark this bike down, and I thought I found it with the shape of the bars, and I was like, they're definitely going to be crap. And then I dropped onto the bars, and even for my little hands, perfectly in reach. For £400, the value of this bike is astronomical. It's, in my opinion, as good as probably £1,500, £2,000 bikes by the big names. It's phenomenal. If your budget's £400 for a bike, done. Yes, there is a rim brake version which is £50 cheaper, but I get this one. It's got much bigger tyre clearance, gives you more options, and disc brakes are just a no-brainer in this day and age.
We hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this. And now we're going to head over, as promised, to give this bike away.
This is Jack from Recycle Bike, and he's going to tell you a few things about what he does.
We've got a few different schemes here, but one of the things that we're looking for is always bikes for young people, especially on low incomes. We've got a young volunteer scheme where we teach them mechanical skills and bikes like this that we can help them refurbish, and then once they've done a few sessions we can help give away.
Check this bike that's been refurbed.
It's James, the shop manager. If that makes its way into a video, he'll be the happiest man in the world.